welcome back, folks. It's another episode of One Stage at a Time, and this podcast, of course, is where we play through the original Super Mario Brothers for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and we've got one episode for each stage of that game. Today we're playing World 3-2, 3-2 of Super Mario Brothers, and I am, as always, Andy Prim.
And I am Aaron Neeson.
And joining us again today is our buddy Jay. Hello, Jay.
Howdy.
Welcome, sir.
Glad to be back.
We're glad to have you.
So we just played through World 3-2 off the air, and I'm curious, gentlemen, what did you think of World 3-2?
Jay, you want to go first?
Sure, I thought it was actually somewhat unspectacular. Just kind of simple and straightforward.
I have to agree. I played this level, and I thought, is that it? Is that it? Like, they just basically it was the level before and a couple levels that we've played in the past, but with rows of 3 enemies at a time sometimes.
Yeah. We had a lot of like triple Koopas and triple Goombas.
Yeah, it was not it was unremarkable, really.
It's a pretty straightforward stage.
What a boring level.
Well, you know what? This is the first of what I would call gauntlet stages. There's several stages like this that we'll see later, but it's a very even stage. There's not too much jumping. There's a few pits, but not too many. It's mostly just rows upon rows of enemies.
Yeah.
And the whole conceit of the stage, if you can even call it a conceit, is that you're just battling enemies one after another. It's just this gauntlet of Koopas and Goombas that are just marching relentlessly towards you.
Yeah, and it was I'm not going to say, I don't want to say boring. I don't want to say boring, but it was not, and it was filler. It was fluff. It was just sort of like, do this again. You've done it before. Do it again. Do it again. It's a little bit harder, but not really. You're not going to die here. Go on.
Yeah, you guys didn't struggle too much with this stage, did you?
No, not particularly. Nope. Jay?
Nope.
Yeah. It was just fun. I got to jump on a few Koopas. Got to jump on a few Goombas.
There is one thing I appreciate about this stage, which is that, like, so the Goomba, or rather the Koopa, of course, you can stomp on it. It goes in its shell. You can kick the shell, and the shell can defeat enemies as it rolls forward. And we haven't had too many places where you could really rack up a lot of kills that way. But this stage you can. I don't know. Did either of you attempt that method of clearing the stage?
Don't shake your head. Say something.
Not really. I didn't have any method, no rhyme or reason to it.
I didn't do it intentionally. But I would jump on a Koopa and then I would just sort of bump into it and they would kill the other two, or I would jump and then, stay in the air because I bounced and hit on the other one and then kill, but it wasn't like I'm gonna combo these guys.
You weren't going for the wombo combo.
Exactly. And it is fun to see, knock the Koopa into a couple other Koopas and then into the Goombas too. Yeah. But it wasn't anything like it wasn't a goal.
I think there's something kind of satisfying about like getting a good combo going, like racking up like 10 kills in a row.
Sure. Did we talk last episode about your little
No, we forgot to talk about that.
Skipped completely.
We can touch on that this
episode.
We'll
touch on it.
That's something we'll tell you what we mean a little bit later, but it has to do with Koopa shells. One thing that I think is fun is it's kind of a risk reward thing. Like if you kick the shell, it flies forward. You have to run after it, and as long as it's on the screen, it'll keep knocking out enemies. But if it hits anything solid, it bounces back towards Mario. So if you're running full tilt and the Koopa shell ricochets back at you, it's very likely that you'll take damage.
You have a split second to get out of the way to jump and avoid that guy. It's got your name on it at that point.
So, yeah, I think there's like, if you choose to play it that way, there can be some fun platforming in this stage, and it is satisfying to knock out all those guys in a row. But, I kind of agree with you guys that this stage is maybe the weakest one that we've played so far.
Yeah, probably. And just because, again, it's like last stage, it felt very familiar, and it didn't give us anything new. We'll get to the new stuff in a minute, unless we can cover it right now. But from what I could, it was all just stuff we've seen before, just in 3s now as opposed to 1 or 2s.
Pretty much.
No, not even any Hammer Bros.
Nope. So do you want to hear first for this stage?
Jay, what do you think?
Why not?
Let's do it.
Firsts for World 3-2. None. There are no firsts for World 3-2.
Well, there we have it. Yeah, it was. This stage was just sort of like been there, done that. You know.
Yeah. I can give you some stats. We've got 17 coins in this stage, a single power-up, a single Starman, and nothing else. There's no one-ups, no secret areas. It's I mean, last time we talked about how World 3-1 is my personal favorite stage. There's a lot going on there. You've got an underground, you've got a coin heaven, you've got all kinds of interesting aesthetic things in the stage. In this one, it's like a nothing compared to that.
Yeah, I wonder why they decided to do it that way. Like, mix it up or split it up at least. Like, make the coin heaven in stage 3-1 and make the underground in 3-2 or something. Like, this was. They had both of them in 3-1. They had the secret 1-up, and they had and the random bridge. Like, and there's nothing in this one. Nothing. Yeah. They just throw more enemies at you.
Yeah, like I said, it's like a gauntlet. It's just, I guess the concept is just lots of enemies. I mean, there's like probably like 24 enemies in this stage, which is more than any other stage we've seen so far. There's a lot of enemies here. But if you've made it this far in the game, probably these guys aren't that threatening to you.
Right.
Like, you should be able, you don't even have to kill them. You can just jump over them.
Yeah. Most of them, you can just jump over them and they're not a threat at this point because you're used to them. And it's, maybe if this is your first, maybe for the people who were playing this game the first time they ever played this game and they got this far and then they're like, oh my God, there's so many of them. But for us, as we've played Mario games and we've had gauntlets, I suppose, with tons of enemies being thrown at you. So we were just like, okay, I'll jump over you guys and I'll jump over you guys. And for fun, I'll stomp on this Koopa and kick it. And here we go. So it was just sort of, another
level,
another step in our path here.
Yeah, well, it sounds like we're all in agreement that World 3-2 is somewhat forgettable. Maybe the low point so far in this journey.
I don't feel good about not designating it and labeling it as such, because it's a perfectly serviceable level.
Sure, yeah, but they can't all be winners. You're right. I mean, it's not a bad level, certainly. It's just
I expected more.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Anything. Like,
well, do you guys want to hear a little bit of history?
Yes.
Aaron?
Do I have to take notes?
There will be a test later.
Oh.
You don't have to take notes, but there will be a test later.
But it's a good idea, huh, Teach? Yeah, let's travel down some history.
All right. So we've been doing history, kind of looking at how Super Mario Brothers came to be. We've been talking about the history of the Yamauchi family, the founders of Nintendo, and we've just gotten to the beginning of the tenure of Nintendo's third president, Hiroshi Yamauchi. So, a big question here is, how did he do it? How did Mr. Yamauchi take the company from like a regional manufacturer of playing cards to what it eventually became?
So at this point, they are still just making playing cards.
That's right. Yeah, when he took over, that's all they did.
That's all they did.
They made these hanafuda cards. Yeah, they had a very well selling set of hanafuda cards called the Dai Torio set, which had Napoleon on it and like other famous world leaders. And they made other ones too, but that one was really famous.
And he was the guy who came in and he cleared house of any other family member, right?
Yep. Yeah, he cleaned house. He had his cousin fired. He had it written into his like stipulations that no other family member could ever work there, so there would be no question about who was in charge. He systematically fired most of the old guard managers, just kind of one by one, so that he would have complete authority over like the new direction for the company.
Jay, is that what you would do?
No, I don't think I'd try to fire everybody that was close to me. But
what if they would try to usurp your power?
Yeah, what if they were a threat?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I can't picture myself in that position of being the in the corridors of power of Nintendo and being forced to think about, should I fire my cousins?
Okay, well, you were there, and every single of your cousins just looked like Starscream to you.
If they were like, we want to do playing cards, and I'm like, I think I know the next generation, next level futuristic thing, maybe I would.
Yeah.
If it was playing cards versus Mario, and he brought up a point. Is it Mario or Mario, or is it interchangeable?
I mean, I'm pronouncing it Mario kind of just for funsies.
I've heard other
Most
people
people
say
would
that.
say Mario. I think if you're from New York, you might say Mario, but yeah, I don't think it really matters that much.
Okay, so Jay, so if you were working at Nintendo, yeah, you're working at Nintendo, you come in and you see the future, and you see that it's ocular replacement, and that's how people are going to play video games from now on. Ocular replacement. They're going to take one eye out, put in a video game system. And I say, no, cousin, no, don't do that. That's not the future of gaming. Future of gaming is still screens outside of your body. You'd fire me?
No, I would not.
No, are you sure?
Because
I would.
You would?
I'd send you all those "you're fired" texts from Back to the Future too. You're
Or my
fired.
fax machine. McFry!
I think if people had to take an eye out, there'd be a lot of lawsuits.
What if you could interchange your eye? What if you could put your own eye back in? Like whenever you wanted, just sort of whenever you want.
If there was no negative, well, it's just kind of odd. I can't picture that.
Exactly. Neither could they.
Yeah.
Neither could they, sir.
That's true.
Yeah.
So maybe I would fire everybody.
Maybe I would. I love it.
Well, Mr. Yamauchi did begin radically restructuring the business. He, built new facilities, and he expanded the company into new and incongruous ventures. Nintendo really took a really disparate strategy at this period in its history. He took over in 1949, we should say. So this is like just after the war. Japan's recovering. Nintendo's kind of struggling as well. The hanafuda cards are doing fine, but it's really a niche market.
Where do TVs come into the picture? When are TVs invented?
TVs are around. I mean, they're still pretty simple, black and white. They're maybe not in every household yet, but
Okay.
I think they existed at this time.
Okay. Yeah, I really don't know the history of TV, so I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there were certainly prototypes as early as like the teens and 20s.
Sure. Yeah,
but-
no, I know that like the projection technology and the idea was around, but I'm just interested in what sort of like may have fed his mindset and things. Like, were TVs like a thing that
Yeah.
were commonplace? Like
He was wealthy, so he probably had one.
yeah, I'm sure that the whole video game thing is still a ways off in our
yeah.
history here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
But I'm
we've
just
got a ways
curious
to
if
go.
it was a glint in his eye yet.
Well, in the 50s and 60s, Yamauchi was kind of looking at a bunch of different industries. He was still a young man. He didn't maybe have as keen a grasp on the markets yet, so he was trying a little of everything. They had taxi cabs, for example. They ran a taxi cab service for a while. Nintendo also ran a love hotel. Now,
What?
Now,
Does that mean what it means now?
well, yes, it does.
Oh,
Wow.
This
my
is a
goodness.
this is a more or
Princess
less
Peach.
family friendly podcast, but let's just say that a love hotel is a place for adults to be adults.
He's trying to get that paper by any means necessary.
You can play those AO games there.
What if the Love Hotel helped fund Mario?
Well, certainly it did.
Yeah, I think it did. Reportedly, that was one of the more successful ventures of all these different ones.
That does not surprise me one bit.
Reportedly, Hiroshi Yamauchi was his own best customer. He really enjoyed this part of the business, much to the chagrin of his wife. And like I said, this was one. Most of these ventures didn't do that well, but this one did actually. Of course, though, the whole kind of scattershot strategy wasn't terribly successful, and eventually Yamauchi began just shutting down all of these other ventures and going back to what Nintendo did best, which was toys and
Including-
novelties.
So he shut down his favorite venture.
Yeah, he was able to kill his own darling there.
The sacrifices the man made.
That's right. He made them for us.
What a hero.
You know what? Yes. Yes. 100%. Mr. Yamauchi, again, salute. So that's all I got for history this episode. But next episode, we will see Nintendo's first forays into the world of video games.
Oh, boy. Jared, you got any predictions? What their first forays into the world of video games is?
No.
Nothing.
No predictions.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Do you all want some lore?
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, boys. I got some lore for you today. We're gonna Lore Corner is gonna maybe adjust its format a little bit. I've up until now I've kind of been quizzing Aaron and our guests on various aspects of Mario lore. We'll still do quizzes sometimes, but a lot of these things are just so obscure that there's no way you could ever know the answer unless you already knew the answer.
Well, you are baiting me because you want me to tell you to quiz me about this.
Yeah.
He knows that I will be like, no, sir. How dare you?
Look, it's fun being Alex Trebek and mocking you when you have the wrong answer.
No, you quiz me, sir. I know you're baiting me, but I will take that bait.
Okay, well, here's somewhat of a quiz. I'm curious if either of you know the answer to this question, which is, what is the first example of Mario on film?
Oh boy.
Mario on film.
Like live action film?
Not live action film,
Okay.
but like a movie featuring Mario.
Not by movie, you don't mean feature film.
Well, I actually do mean feature film.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. What is the first feature film with Mario? The Wizard?
That's a good guess. The Wizard is one of my favorite childhood movies.
Yeah.
Mine too.
Yeah, you
great
got
movie.
Bo Bridges and what's the main
Fred
actor's
Savage.
name? Fred Savage, yeah.
Christian Slater.
Christian Slater, yeah.
Christian Slater.
Hey,
and
it's me, Christian
Jenny Lewis.
Slater.
Jenny Lewis is, yes, she's awesome. She is awesome. Look up Rilo Kiley. If you haven't listened to them, they are fantastic. Jenny Lewis she's wonderful.
And The Wizard is a great movie. If you haven't seen that film, please do check it out. It was one of my favorites as a kid, and I think it holds up.
It holds up in like a kid's movie way.
Well,
like it's it's a silly kids movie, and it's got Tobey Maguire in it.
Yep. For a split second.
Yeah, just for a sec.
He's
like an extra
kids.
towards the end of the movie. Yeah.
And I love the dude who's the host or whatever you want to call for the video Armageddon. He's like,
Oh,
you get
yeah.
to your station.
Oh, man.
Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh, man.
Okay, so it's not the Wizard.
It's not The Wizard.
Okay,
No,
hang on.
it's
Let me
not-
take
it's not The Wizard.
one more guess. Jay, do you have any guesses? This time Mario appeared on film.
This is a feature film for theaters featuring Mario.
Feature film for theaters featuring Mario.
What year did the first Mario come out?
That would be 1985, Jay.
1985.
But Donkey Kong came out years before that.
Earlier, yeah.
And it was a very popular arcade game.
Yep.
Donkey Kong. Is there a movie that features Donkey Kong at all? Let's see here.
Back to the Future Part 1.
Nope.
Nope. That's not it. I knew that was wrong. Jay, do you have any guesses?
Maybe a movie with Matthew Broderick. I don't know.
War Games with Matthew Broderick.
War Games.
That's a good guess. All right. Good guesses all around, gentlemen. But I'll tell you the answer. This is a Japanese animated film called Peach-hime Kyushutsu Dai Sakusen.
That's
Actually,
what
it's
I was
Super Mario Brothers, and then that's the subtitle. You were thinking that,
That
Jay?
was my second guess.
So this is an animated film released in 1985 in theaters in Japan, and it is the first example of Mario on film, and it's probably the first theatrical video game movie, like of any time, period. I've seen it. You can watch it on YouTube.
Is it good?
It's actually fairly entertaining,
Yeah?
I would say. For its time, for 85, the animation is pretty good, I think. It was a theatrical movie, so they put some money into it. It's sort of a loose retelling of the original Mario Brothers. You've got Mario and Luigi in there. So they're not plumbers in this movie. They're grocers, apparently. They have like a little general store and they're selling groceries. And Mario is playing the Famicom, the family computer one night, and he like sees Peach in the screen of his video game, and she like comes out of the screen and is like, Mario, help me. And then Bowser comes out of the screen and beats Mario up and kidnaps Peach and goes back into video game land.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, it's a total nightmare. And Luigi thinks Mario's crazy when he hears about this. But Peach leaves behind this little brooch. Like, you know how Peach usually has like a little brooch around her neck or like in the middle of her
like
dress?
A pendant sort of thing.
Yeah. That first appeared in this film.
Okay.
And it's a MacGuffin. Like Mario finds it and has to get it back to Peach. And they end up going through a pipe into the Mushroom Kingdom. They have to collect the 3 magical items, which are the mushroom, the fire flower, and the star. And then they take an airship. This is the first time we see an airship in the Mario lore.
Okay.
They fly an airship. It's like underwater, and they raise it up into the sky and fly it to Bowser's castle. They fight Goombas and Koopa Troopas along the way. There's this weird little dog thing that travels with them, like a magical dog. There's like an old sorcerer man with a beard who's like a prophet who tells Mario about like his quest and whatever. Luigi's there too. Luigi's really greedy in this movie. He's always like digging for coins and stuff. His palette's different. He has blue overalls and a yellow shirt on for some reason. And anyway, they get to the end. They fight Bowser. Mario uses his 3 power-ups. Bowser's trying to marry Peach. He's trying to have a wedding here. And Aaron, you've said often on this show that you think Bowser is the hero of the franchise.
Yeah.
And this movie kind of bears that out. He just really loves Peach. Like, he has a lot of tearful moments where he's like confessing his love for Peach.
Well, listen, just because you love a woman does not make it okay to kidnap her. I think that should be the official stance of this podcast. Doesn't make it okay.
That's our position.
It's the official position of the One Stage at a Time podcast that just because you love a woman does not make it okay to kidnap her. Absolutely not.
I think we can all get behind that.
I think we can all get behind that. Bowser is unorthodox in his attempts to unify the many kingdoms and to bring peace to the land.
He was a trailblazer. You know, most great men of history were questionable figures.
That's
Julius
right.
Caesar.
That's right. History will look upon Bowser favorably. I believe that. Princess Peach was a subjugator. She was not a good
Queen
person.
Victoria.
And Bowser was just trying to liberate the people of the Mushroom Kingdom and bring equality to the people of the Koopa Kingdom.
You heard it here first, folks. Bowser is a liberator.
Not like that, but listen. Just again, this happened many times in Mario lore. Bowser loves Peach. She loves Bowser. Mario keeps getting in the way.
Well, to conclude, the film ends with Mario and Luigi arriving just in time to stop the wedding. They kind of fight through Bowser's castle. There's this final confrontation. Mario uses the 3 items to gain superpower. He goes Super Saiyan, basically. There's like a gold flashing power aura around him.
Cool.
He grabs Bowser by the tail and swings him around and tosses him into the distance.
Like Super Mario 64.
Exactly. This is the first time Mario ever did that. So in some ways, this movie sort of anticipates some of like what would come later. This is actually, I think, the first time Luigi's depicted as like looking different from Mario. Like he's taller and slimmer, whereas Mario's a little bit shorter and portlier.
Yeah, sure. Because in Super Mario Brothers, they're interchangeable.
Yeah, they're basically the same character.
Thing,
yeah, just a palette swap. So that is Super Mario Brothers Peach-hime Kyushutsu Dai Sakusen from 1985. And listeners out there, I would encourage you all to check this out. It's like a cool 60 minutes. It's fairly entertaining. And like I said, you can find it on the YouTubes. This was released on VHS in Japan in the 80s. But it had a limited release. It hasn't been re-released since then, and it's one of the most rare pieces of Mario memorabilia.
Yeah, I can imagine why.
Original VHSs go for like $600 to $1,000.
Holy cow!
Yeah, so if you want this one, folks, I hope you got some change tucked away.
Well, I guess it's a collector's item, but it blows my mind because it's on YouTube. It's like, who would pay that? Except for a collector. They're hardcore collectors.
Yeah, right. That's why you do it. Yeah, not for any practical reason, but just because you want to do it.
Yep.
All right. Well,
I think that's probably a good place to stop. Don't you?
I concur.
Yeah? Jay, do you feel sufficiently lored?
I do.
Good. You gonna stick around for World 3-3?
Yes. While we're at it, though, the wizard. I encourage everybody who's listening, if you haven't seen it, please watch The Wizard.
Yeah, go watch it. It's
You got
good.
Spanky, a side character. He's awesome. Losing money at the casino.
I forgot about Spanky. He's great.
You got Jenny Lewis's character who talks about her mom being shady. We don't know exactly what happened there.
No spoilers.
She punches Fred Savage at one point.
Spoilers.
That's a good part.
Let's see what else happens that I like.
You got
Take
Lucas.
us through the movie beat by beat, would you?
You got Lucas, right? With the power glove.
Lucas with the power glove.
So
It's
bad.
so bad.
Hey, I'm headed to the championships too.
Does anybody out there own a power glove? If you guys have one, send it to us, would you?
yeah, mail it to us. You can mail it to Aaron's home address, which is
No, but seriously, contact us if you have one. We would love to play.
Yes.
We'll play through the next episode, through the next level with the power glove.
Agreed.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in. Jay, did you have a good time? You gonna stick around for World 3-3?
I am. Yep.
Fantastic.
Well, we're going to be back soon, folks. Please follow us on all of the things by which you follow people. Twitter, Facebook. We're out there. We're doing the stuff. Follow us, please, and we'll post some things for you to see.
Yeah. And thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.